I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. The grift just keeps on going with Donald Trump's political groups and his organizations all involved in self-dealing. We are learning that Jared Kushner's book, which somehow reached the top of the New York Times bestseller list when I don't know a single person, Democrat, Republican, MAGA Republican, anyone who likes Jared Kushner, who would want to read anything Jared Kushner had to sell or even hear anything out of Jared Kushner's mouth. But somehow, breaking history, a White House memoir by Jared Kushner hit the top of the New York Times bestseller. But it shouldn't be shocking to learn how it probably got there. New political filings from one of Trump's organizations, a group that's called Save American Joint Fundraising Committee, which raises money for two Trump PACs, paid retailer books $1,131,000 in connection with what was referred to as collateral books. And then shortly thereafter, what do you know? Jared Kushner's book reaches the New York Times bestseller list. The story was broken by Forbes. Special shout out to Zach Everson for his reporting. We will pull up right now the filings that were made by the Save America Joint Fundraising Committee, which spent $131,000 on books just days before Kushner's memoir reached the New York Times bestseller list. And this is from the Federal Election Commission website, and you can see it right there. Forbes tried to reach out to the organizations. They didn't respond, but one of the things that we are aware is that Trump's political groups are selling Kushner's book, or they're offering free copies of Kushner's book in return for donations of $75 or more. So it seems all but certain that this was connected. And by the way, this was a tactic that Trump has always used, continues to use. Donor money, buy his own books, get him to the top of the New York Times bestseller list, claim success, but it is all a scheme. It is all a Ponzi. It is all a cycle of fraud. We previously have reported also that at the same time we're learning about this grift over the weekend, another story broke where you should definitely listen to our more detailed report. But Will Wilkerson, one of the first employees of Truth Social, or the Trump media group, spoke with the Washington Post over the weekend and had presented a whistleblower complaint that was previously filed, which was previously confidential, to the Securities and Exchange Commission, which detailed the securities fraud that Wilkerson has alleged. And look, he was there. He was one of the first employees. He worked with all of the founders of the Trump media group, a guy named Litinsky and others, he has their emails, he has the communications showing that Trump engaged in Trump Media Group and the special purpose acquisition company, Digital World Acquisition Company, were involved in securities fraud. Here, I'll just pull up right now a copy of the whistleblower complaint that was filed by Will Wilkerson. And Wilkerson also alleges that somewhere around March, Trump ordered one of the former co-founders, a guy named Litinsky, to turn over his shares to Melania. And Litinsky's like, no, I can't do that. One, I earned them. That's how I'm being compensated here. And number two, if I gift my shares to Melania, I'm going to get hit with a massive tax bill. And then Trump said, well, if you don't do that, I'm taking you off the board. Trump kicked him off the board. And we have the emails that show that taking place in real time. One of the things Wilkerson also points out were conversations that existed between Digital World Acquisition Companies, the SPAC, and Trump Media before Digital World Acquisition Company formally announced that it would be going public through the initial S1, that's what the filing is called, SPAC process, and you're not allowed to have communications with potential target companies to bring public before you announce the SPAC. That's improper communications, as well as a number of potential improper securities violations. Not potentially, seem for fairly clear, cut and dry securities violations after. So, I mean, literally everything these people do, they do it by cheating. They do it by stealing. They do it by engaging in crimes. They do it by harming other individuals. They do nothing legitimate. And you can cast aside whatever your political affiliation is, because whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, we should, and we all once agreed, crimes are bad, that we should prosecute criminals. Cheating is bad. We shouldn't support cheaters. We shouldn't support grifters. We shouldn't support people who are abusing their positions of power. We shouldn't support people. It's not a political point, whether you're Democrat or Republican. But here, MAGA Republican Party principle number one, no matter what Donald Trump does, engage in crime, steal nuclear records, sexually assault people, whatever it is, support him no matter what. Support the cult. Support the criminal cult leader. That is deeply, deeply problematic. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hey, hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers. Thanks to you. It's free to subscribe, so what are you waiting for? Also, if you want to support independent media like this, check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Become a patron. Till next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.